Hey there, YouTube. We're going to jump into our UK news. We have a few more links for this one. There's actually a lot of crazy news happening out in the UK. There was some burst water mains. There was a fire in a Mayfair restaurant. I have some voting statistics. We have the nurses who walked out. Christmas trade has been hit by rail strikes. Got something from Good Morning Britain, where your motherfucking boy Mick Lynch over here taking an absolute shit on the blowhards of Good Morning Britain. We got a Johnny Pie update. I mean, Johnny Pie, right? We got a Johnny Pie update. And then the final video is an amazing interaction between James O'Brien from the LBC, not from Florida, from the LBC, and he's interacting with your average right winger. And I really wanted to play this and just show you, because James does such a good. He's talked to so many people like this, and he has such a way of pointing out, without how I like to blatantly point out, oh hey, I noticed you didn't answer the question. He does it in a much more clever and interesting way. And I can see why he sits where he is. Once again, as a person who does what he does, I gotta bow, man. I gotta bow my head. I mean, he plays these fools like a fiddle. He plays them like a fiddle. So you definitely look forward to that. You're gonna love that. But let's get on to this weird ass news over here. Burst water main forces evacuations in North London after homes flooded. So yeah, this is a street, not a river. People have been forced to evacuate their homes after a pipe burst in North London Street. That's a lot. The water main burst at 2:50 a.m., causing flooding up to a half a meter depth. Probably a pipe, exploding after, it did say that after freezing, right? Fuck, I'm repeating information. After a pipe burst. Oh, it doesn't say that it froze. Yeah, so what happens is the pipe freezes. Ice and water obviously expands. That causes a crack. And then you got a big ass problem, right? And a lot of people live in basement apartments in London. I know, because I stayed in one last time I went there. Beautiful little place, but we had to go. We had to go way down. And if this happened, yeah, we would have been in for a nice little cold surprise there. Yikes. Still going, man. Turn the valve off. You don't have valves? What the fuck? Look, I know your shit is ancient, because your city has been around since the 1200s. But did the Knights of the Round build some valves in the pipes? What's happening here? Jesus Christ! Someone get the canoe. You're totally right, Zio. Turn the water off. I'm sorry. Obviously that they can't. It's not that easy, but it's shocking that it's not that easy. Boy, you got to update some of that infrastructure over there, London. Moving on to our next story. It gets even crazier. Here's a first-person account. A fire breaks out at a Mayfair restaurant. I think people are sitting around dining, and then I think the Christmas decorations catch on fire, and chaos ensues, right? This clip is too short. It is too short. If anyone has a longer clip of this incident that happened at the Mayfair, please go ahead and link it in the chat, because this clip is way too short. It ends right when it's about to get good. But here you go, folks. Yeah, so as you can see there, this appears to be Christmas lights, and this is some kind of Christmas tree kind of, decoration, and it just went up, man. And it actually looks like that this is this is actually the doorway. That this is like a wreath or something going over the doorway. And they actually, if you can catch it really quick, you can just slow it down a bit here. You catch it really quick, you'll actually see people who are okay, they're putting their drinks down. It's okay, party over with. But you'll see people running into this, because I think it's their only exit. You see that? See that? They're actually they have to they have to run through the flames to escape. Right? The thing is literally dripping hot plastic. Here we go. Yep. So this is the camera. It's okay. This is the decoration. You can see the flames above. Yep. He runs right through it. You can see it literally. Oh, someone fell. Someone fell jumping through. Look at that. My guy's like Carrie. Okay. So then, it changes. So let's go back to normal speed.
Get off.
Where's everyone else?
Get on the back.
I don't know. Stay out and get out.
Stay out and get out.
Joe, where's everyone else?
So yeah, and see, and that's where it ends right there, where like the people who got out are like looking down the smoky hallway, and we saw that there's a lot of people still in there. I don't think anyone died. I think it just, one of those things where it was like a lot scarier than what it actually, was. You know what I mean? I don't think the building burned down or anything, but that would be very scary. That, especially if that's your only exit. Definitely very scary stuff right there. Leo, I believe, put this in our chat in the Discord, and if you want to check out the Discord, make sure you check it out. It's right here. But Leo was saying that, hey, this is looking pretty good, and I'm not going to read all these numbers. If you want to see the numbers yourself, you're welcome to check it out right here. But basically, it's looking very good for the Liberals, even though Keir Starmer doesn't really deserve, he's not really an inspiring neoliberal. But like the neoliberals right now, like Joe Biden is enjoying his "I'm not Trump" status, right? That's kind of what's happening here. It's like, well, you're not the Tories. So it's looking really good. YouGov Westminster voting intention. Looks like a lot of people are going to be voting Labor, right? So that's good. That's good. The problem, though, and we see this in the United States, is that there's no mandate. They get in because they weren't the assholes. And then what are they going to do? Well, a lot of corporatism, a lot of corruption. We need better liberals. We need better lefties. And let me tell you, the Labor Party and the neoliberal Democratic Party in the United States, their number one priority is stifling progressive voices and progressive change. Okay? These people are more responsible. Remember when Trump used to point that out on the campaign trail? They're so mean to Bernie. I don't know why they're so mean to Bernie. I don't know why. His poll numbers are great. They're so mean to Bernie. Remember when he used to do that? It's intentional. Their number one priority is destroy progressivism so that they can keep their meal ticket. And it's their chickens are coming home to roost, right? It's already kind of happened in Brexit, in the UK with Brexit. That is a mistake that will be hurting the UK for decades. The Conservatives kind of won. They kind of got what they wanted over there, and now they're the dog that caught their own tail. Buy me a conspiracy tracker. What's conspiracy about any of this, Equaldari? I'm curious to hear your opinion. All right, so anyway, moving on from that, 100,000 nurses walk out in an unprecedented strike. So a lot of these nurses have not received raises in 4 years, and the raise that they are being offered does not follow inflation. Inflation is more than what they're going to get, so they're actually taking functionally a pay cut. We're seeing the Rishi, conservative government, do everything they can to stifle this. They just have such love for that Thatcherite era of union busting, and they literally use language like union barons and you're being held hostage by the unions. We're talking average Joe 9-to-5ers, right? Basically, the people who vote Tory, right, are the union people. And it doesn't seem like it's a winning strategy on the conservative side to consistently vilify union organizations. Just doesn't seem like it's the right move. Giving them too much credit. There's no great foresight behind it, just usual incompetence and people being people. Yeah, that's an interesting take there, that it's not a concentrated effort, that it's just corruption, and this is what it does. I disagree, though. After seeing the meek sheep Obama administration turn into raging political beasts as soon as Bernie Sanders started, having some traction. I'm fairly convinced that their number one priority is destroying progressivism. I will say though that there's some huge differences between the neoliberal Democrats and the Labour Party in the UK. So, with that said, Keir Starmer is not a very inspiring leader, and he's also doesn't seem to speak very highly of a lot of important progressive issues. It does seem to be like it's more middle of the road corporatist centrism from what I've heard from Keir Starmer, but it's not literally fuck you with a stick until you're blind style conservative politics, right? So people are just like, look, I'll take it, after over a decade of Tory rule and Brexit destroying our economy and all these benefits not showing up and things just getting worse. Rishi hiding, he's not even showing up for anything. And he's like, he popped out of his little cave to announce a bunch of tax hikes on the lower and middle class. And of course some tax cuts for the rich. And then he hasn't said shit. So people are just sick of it. Right. To me though, that means that the neoliberals, the Labour Party is going to not have that mandate, from the people. It could be a wishy-washy, ineffective. That would be the worst thing ever. Is that after, over a decade of Tory rule, the Labour Party gets in there and they're just kind of flaccid and useless, right? Because that's what we see here in the United States, right? We got people defending the January 6th insurrection, talking about how we need to do it again, shamelessly talking about how we love Trump, we want to reinstate Trump. Nothing was learned, right? The neoliberals aren't showing America that there's a better way. They're not inspiring anybody. It's just meek status quo nonsense, right? No one is moving on this. And what are we seeing? Even after January 6th, the right-wing party has a great chance of winning in 2024 because there's just no viable opposition to them. It's just meek milquetoast. Well, I guess we lost Roe v. Wade, guys. I'm just going to be Droopy the dog over here. Okay. Man, you guys should stop picking on Joe Manchin. He's great.
From Bristol to Belfast, screaming it to a beat in London and freezing in Wrexham. The message from tens of thousands of striking nurses is the same across the nation. Today's strike is as vast as it is historic. The first time in the Royal College of Nursing's 106-year history, its members have voted for industrial action. For Shelley and her student nurse son, it wasn't being underpaid, but overworked that led her to the picket line.
You get the odd shift where you'll get the amount of staff that you need, but a majority of the time you don't get that. So this is what today is about for us.
They don't even get regular hours?
It's about getting out there and getting some more staff. And if we can help with increasing that money, then
they're being asked to cover way more shifts than what they're supposed to. That's what's going on. So that it's not there's too many hours. They don't have enough staff.
Other people might want to come in and say, "Oh, I might want to join the nursing profession."
We have been undervalued.
The nursing union is calling for a pay rise of 5% above inflation, so an increase of about 19% in a cost of living.
It's 19% because they haven't gotten a raise in years. Okay, and 5% above inflation. I got 7% above inflation on my most recent raise from a rinky-dink little software company, right? That I'm doing IT for. That's not too much to ask. It is not too much to ask to bring their wages up to where everyone else's wages are with a little bump on there, so it's an actual raise and not just them catching up to inflation. It's an insult that they're being asked to take anything less. This is how normal business works outside of this, these.
crisis. It's desperately needed, says Shelley.
We're working.
When I
extra
find the
shifts.
words.
We're going to burn ourselves out if we're not careful, because we're putting got to be now 60, 70 pounds on our gas meter every week because we're just burning through it. It's so cold. Like, you know, I need to keep the kids warm, and yeah, everything's just a little bit tough at the moment.
The average nurse's pay has increased by about 20% in cash terms since 2010. But over the same period, prices have gone up by 32%, so nurses have had a real terms pay cut. Their pay has not increased by as much as private sector workers, up 41%.
And look at that.
Or even other public sector workers.
Not even in line with other public sector workers.
The government, though, is refusing to increase a pay offer of £1,400 for the majority of nurses.
But we also recognise the huge contribution that we saw from nurses during the pandemic, and that's why last year we made a special case where nurses got an extra 3%.
Yeah, so you're bringing up some shit in the past. We're talking about right now, buddy. Okay, what you want a pat on the back for doing your job back then? And what do you want, a free pass to exploit people in the future because you helped us out during, because you helped them out during a pandemic and pretended like they were heroes? What you want to, we should get a free pass on exploiting them now because we were good guys back then. What is this argument? It's shit.
When others in the public sector did not. But we've got to balance that against what is affordable to the wider economy. And asking for a 19% pay rise, way above what most viewers themselves are receiving, is not affordable.
Wrong, and he's lying and gaslighting. Because what did we see from this chart right here? Average private sector raises 41%, right? Somewhat above inflation. This motherfucker lying right to your fucking face. He thinks you're a fucking moron, is what he thinks.
Pay rise way above what most viewers themselves are receiving is not affordable.
Liar.
Given the many other economic pressures that we face.
Liar.
As of right now,
And where the fuck is the pushback, Channel 4 News? You're not going to call that shit out? He just fucking lied to your face.
talks have stalled and more strikes are scheduled for next week.
This isn't just about pay, it's about working conditions, it's about staff being stretched, they say, to the limit, it's about not being able to provide the care they want to give, and underpinning all of that are major gaps in the workforce, to the point they say it's just unsustainable right now.
Of course, low pay is one of the reasons for those gaps in the workforce, say nurses.
Yeah, always mental health nursing, yeah.
Paul is talking to us on his lunch break from his new job at a private hospital.
Basically, my pay just wasn't really holding up to the cost of living increases, and I've had to borrow money from my brother and things like that. And
this is a doctor. This is a doctor.
also use
Or is this a nurse? Either way, medical professional.
credit cards and things like that, but I just couldn't afford to do it anymore. So when I was asked why I was leaving, I actually just said I can't afford to work here anymore.
Did you ever think you'd leave the NHS?
No, not at all. Never. I thought I'd work there till I retired, yeah.
Critical services like A&E, chemotherapy and kidney dialysis are running as normal today, but thousands of appointments have been cancelled, like Neil's treatment for blood cancer.
So they put us through to next Monday, but because of the RCN strike or the proposed RCN strike on Tuesday, he then has to go back on Wednesday.
And the Tories would look you straight in the eye and say, "Oh, can you believe those dirty nurses, those evil nurses would do that to this poor innocent man?" While they're using every ounce of their power to pay that nurse as little as possible, basically forcing that nurse to stand up for him or herself on the picket line. These people are disgusting. How they would weaponize this man's blood cancer to convince you that supporting unions is wrong. How evil is that? To use another man's cancer to tell you that something beneficial for you as a person is bad for you. That's about as evil as it fucking gets right there. It really is.
Neil, how do you feel about your appointments being cancelled?
I have sympathy with the nurses, naturally. But nevertheless, yes, it's a bit inconvenient.
Nurses in Scotland...
Yeah, and that's, from his perspective, that's about, that's a class act response right there. Like, I get their plight big time, but I'm also in risk of dying and not too happy about that.
They refused a pay rise offer of 7.5%. The government in Westminster is refusing to negotiate on wages, and 3 more medical unions are getting ready to strike. Today was historic and evidently just the start of a debilitating dispute.
Okay, I can't help myself. I need to point this out. They showed this B-roll too many fucking times. So they show this woman taking a selfie, and the woman next to her who is taking the selfie, I think, is telling her how to take a picture. And she, through her smile, she has the coldest "I know" that comes out of her mouth. Watch her mouth.
Are getting ready to strike. Today was historic.
We're gonna take a selfie, yay! Okay, so she's like fiddling around right on the app. She's getting it done, and this lady's like telling her how she's like backseat driving. And look at her mouth. Watch this.
And evidently just the.
I know how to use my camera. I know how to do a selfie. I know. They showed it too many times. I had to point that out. I know. Stop.
Today was historic.
What?
And evidently just the start of a debilitating dispute.
I know. Oh, do I have to look at the fucking desk? Oh, I hate this desk.
Paul McNamara there. Well, earlier today, I went to chat to nurses at the Leeds General Infirmary Hospital who've been out on the picket lines in the...
All right, I want to hear what the nurses have to say, yeah.
...cold protesting. Many of them told me they were feeling burned out and demoralised over low pay, but torn about the decision to walk out.
It was a mixed emotion whether should I come out or not, but I think now is the time for us to stand up and speak for us.
How hard is it surviving on a nurse's salary?
It's very difficult. I'm a single mum. That in itself is really hard. Trying to work, cover childcare, the cost of living at the moment. Yeah, it's hard.
I came into this job to work hard for my patients, but I am so burnt out now. You know, I haven't done a shift in 6 weeks with the second nurse. And that means I can't take a break. I legally can't leave the ward because I have the meds keys in my pocket. You know, any other job, imagine if you did 13 hours and you didn't have a break, you didn't leave your office, you would think that was unreasonable. I'd be honest, I cry in cupboards. I can't, you know, it's a really awful job. But it is also a job that I absolutely love, and I'm very passionate about how much I love my job. I chose to come into a service that is well-funded, well-staffed and well-looked after, and that's not what we're in at the moment.
What would you say to the Health Secretary if he was right here now?
I'd say you couldn't run a bath, sir, or madam.
Oh!
Sir, I can't keep up with the change in this government.
Would you like a compromise, that you come to somewhere in between what the government's offering and what your union's asking for?
I think a compromise is realistic. I think with anything, you aim high and you compromise in the middle. It's any kind of negotiation.
Fuck, man, that's gonna be me in just a couple months. My wife is due in like at the end of January, early February. That's gonna be me in a couple months, guys. I'm fucking terrified.
You aim high and you compromise in the middle. It's any kind of negotiation.
I think 19's probably a bit unrealistic, honestly. But I think 4.5 is a bit of a kick in the teeth, or whatever it is that they're offering. And I think actually that would mean
4.5. They need, what do they need? 19 or 14 just to match inflation, and they're getting offered 4.5. It's just insulting. It really is. It's just a complete fucking insult. Where are these Brexit benefits, you fucking charlatans?
I mean, people would come out with less.
You got a lot of people beeping all the time.
Yeah.
Do you think that public support is going to last?
Tough to say. I'm surprised to see it today.
Yeah.
Why?
If you're a union activist, then yeah, you're pretty used to getting spit on by people who directly benefit from unions existing, right? Stop picketing! I want my Starbucks.
Because some of the stuff that I've seen
Thanks, Lenny. Yeah, we'll see. But thank you, bud.
And heard from on social media hasn't been very positive from friends, family. So actually to see other unions come out and support you, for all these public members beeping their horns and saying that they're in support of us is great. Like, it makes me feel really good inside. I don't think it will last.
The views of nurses on the picket line here in Leeds. Well, earlier I spoke to Matthew Taylor, the Chief Executive of the NHS Confederation, which represents health service employers, and Patricia Marquis, the RCN's England Director. I began by asking whether the RCN considered today's strike a success.
If striking's ever a success, but we have had a large turnout on our picket lines. We know that members feel...
Oh, good. There's a new Denny's video. Good. I didn't see that. Okay, I don't need to hear from, we heard from the nurses. I don't need to hear from the organizer, even though she's doing great work. Chief Executive of the NHS Confederation. Ooh, boy, does he not look like the ghoul that he probably is? All right, let's see what this fucking ghoul has to say about the situation. I bet it's the nurses need to just take what they're offered like the peasants they are.
You got any data on how many operations, how many appointments have been cancelled across the country?
No, that data isn't collected. And I think we have to have an honest conversation about this. There's no question that industrial action causes harm. It would be odd, wouldn't it, if vital members of our workforce were not to work and it was not to have an impact.
So this is the argument, huh? They need to be forced to work for pittance. They need to be forced to be exploited. They basically need to be slaves. That's the argument.
And, when we talk about routine operations being cancelled, that word routine, it's not how it feels if you're a patient who's been waiting a long time and are told you're going to have to wait 6 weeks. So, there are real harms that result from industrial action. We are very grateful to the trade unions for working with us to try to minimise the life and limb risks of that. And I think today has been managed as well as can be expected, given the nature of industrial action. The spectre is of more industrial action unfolding over the winter. And
so give them what they fucking ask for and move on with your life, huh? Lower the salaries of your executives. Shave that shit off. The money's there. The money's fucking there.
We mustn't take today as a grounds for complacency.
Right, Patricia, that's the point, isn't it? You're going to escalate from here, aren't you?
If we need to, we will and we can. But just coming back to Matthew's point around the disruption, of course it's been disruptive, but that's different to saying, have we caused harm today? Any more than is caused every single day by the disruption that is caused because of the lack of funding. So patients wait for months,
my friends, and
in
welcome.
some cases years, to get surgery already. People wait too long for ambulances. They wait too long for beds once they're at a hospital. Those disruptions are being caused every single day because of the lack of staff that there are. So I don't want anyone to think that today, as it has been disrupted, but in a different way to the services are disrupted every single day across the UK.
Matthew, you're nodding at that, so you sympathise with that argument.
It is certainly the case that even if we had no trade unions and we had no industrial action, we would face a workforce crisis in the health service. We have 130,000 vacancies. So, we've got problems with
130,000 vacancies. Geez, man, there might be a problem here. Gosh, no one wants to work anymore. You know what we should do? Let's ban Netflix. Let's pay you $5 an hour, but we're going to ban Netflix. That'll get the proles working.
Recruitment, with retention, and with motivation. So what Patricia says is absolutely true. But of course,
she's acknowledging what she's doing is she's acknowledging that there's a lot of pain. If she had more time, she would say, but it's necessary because, of how exploited these people are. And if we want to fill these vacancies, we should pay people more. No, dirty crackhead, they didn't ban Netflix. I'm just saying these, the ghouls, their solution is, anything but pay them more. Anything but pay them more. Literally force them to be exploited, but we can't pay them more. That would be bad.
Of course, as Patricia knows, in the middle of winter, when you've got those kinds of challenges, when you've got, and we saw the data today.
Yeah, when you have some leverage to get what you want. Yeah. Thank you, Domo, for that follow.
The highest level ever of 111 calls, ambulances waiting outside casualty. Then in those circumstances, any additional pressure on the service, is highly problematic.
And I noticed this guy hasn't mentioned wages, hasn't mentioned raising wages. He's just like, oh, it's really bad. It's really bad. It's really bad. Industrial action's really bad.
Tricia, some of your members on the picket lines today here in Leeds were worried that public support would fade and was already potentially fading. There's some polling evidence to back that up. Are you concerned about that?
Of course we are, absolutely. Keeping the public on side is absolutely critical to our success. And we have to send a really strong message to the public from our members. And I'm sure you heard this today on the picket lines. We care deeply about the impact that any of our action is taking. But the very reason that people got to the point of ticking yes and walking out today and being on a picket line, freezing cold and losing pay, was because they cannot do the job that they want to be able to do. And it's physically, mentally exhausting, but it's morally just unjustifiable for them to try and continue doing that. So I think that we would say to the public, please stick with us. We're in this for you and with you.
Matthew, the reality is the longer this goes on, the less public support there'll be for it, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, and ghouls like this are counting on that. They're hoping to hold out the negotiations long enough for public support to wane on the protesters, and then they can exploit them. Now, what the fuck? What kind of fucking strategy is that? Oh man, we just gotta, you know, people just need to be fucked over a little bit longer. Then we can really put the screws in. What the fuck, man?
I think the reality is the longer this goes on, the greater the impact on the health service and the greater the risk to patients. And I think that in as much as the public looks on any action and
you care so much about patients, that's why you're not going to give your employees a fair wage, and you're gonna let your patients suffer instead of just giving them what they want, which isn't a lot. They're not asking for $100,000 a year salaries, you know, and everyone gets a Rolls Royce. They're asking to have their wages a little bit above inflation, which is completely reasonable. Completely reasonable. And this, I care so much about my patients. That's why I'm going to let them suffer while I string along my employees. Fuck off.
And sees what kind of impact it has. There will come a point when the public will become increasingly anxious, whether they...
And yeah, you're 100% correct, Domo. It's a common tactic used across the world against industrial action, which is, you know, blame the strikers, right? They're just greedy strikers, you know. But let's not talk about the numbers. Let's not talk about inflation and real wages and actual compensation. Let's literally never say the word wages. Let's completely ignore that and just say industrial action is really bad. These people want to hurt people. These people they want to see people suffer. I can't believe it. They're not nice guys like us.
Blame the government or blame the trade unions. I can't say, but we cannot drift.
I can't say, are we blaming them? Oh, shut up, man. Shut up.
Sees what kind of impact it has. There will come a point when the public will become increasingly anxious, whether they blame the government or blame the trade unions. I can't say, but we cannot drift into a winter of industrial action without severe consequences.
Matthew Taylor, Patricia Marquis, thank you both very much.
They're crooks. They're gaslighting you. They're crooks. They're fucking crooks. They hire ghouls like this. They hire ghouls like this to make their position seem more sensible. Okay, when the obvious sensible position is to give people the wages they deserve. Well, where was that chart? Right here. This chart says it all. It's literally the only thing that needs to be said. It's literally the only thing that needs to be said. Industrial action so bad. Industrial action so bad. They're not even asking for, like, you know, top earners in the private sector. They're just asking for just a couple percentage points over inflation. Look at this down here. This is poverty. This is poverty. Moving on. Christmas trade hit by rail strikes with no breakthrough in talks. Go fucking figure. Go fucking figure. Man, they're all the way up in Thatcher's fucking vag. Go fucking figure that they want to blame the unions and fuck everybody over. Right? Wow, Brexit. Man, hook it up. Jeez, I love all this benefits from Brexit, man. I'm drowning in benefits. Man, you know what it seems like? More of the same to me. More of the same bullshit. Not a goddamn thing has changed, has it? Thatcher knew how to pole dance. Oh, man. I'd pay good money to see that shit.
Birmingham's fountains are on a go slow thanks to the freezing
Denise.
temperatures.
Oh, fuck. You guys are funny. Zio, you're a funny dude. Okay, starting over. Dirty Denise.
Birmingham's fountain.
Thirsty Thatcher! Shut up! Okay, starting over. The rail strikers.
Birmingham's fountains are on a go slow thanks to the freezing temperatures. And many businesses are blaming the go slow by rail workers for a drop in trade. It's the fourth day this week trains have been disrupted by strikes. Belinda Downing sings at the German Christmas market most years. She says numbers of visitors are definitely down because of the strikes, but she's sympathetic to those on the picket lines.
I think that everybody deserves a decent wage. I was a nurse for over 40 years.
Evil.
And I don't like the fact that nurses are obviously striking. But in this climate, everybody has to look out for themselves.
There's been a 15% fall in business this week compared to last, according to the retail data company Springboard. At the Piccadilly Arcade next to the Christmas market, the drop-off in trade has been even bigger for some.
Really,
Smithsonian has been here for 40 years. Now the owner is thinking of shutting up shop for good.
This was, I'm a guy, and I'm also been broke my whole life. I never understood how jewelry stores stay in business. Are you really, are you really just daily? People are coming in spending $10,000 on a ring or set of earrings. You know what I mean? It just seems like it never seemed to me like a very sustainable business, jewelry stores, but I don't have any money, so I don't know, maybe it is.
Traditionally the busiest Saturday of the year, and that has been the case for probably the last 30 years. So we've already experienced train strikes during the week.
He looks like he has a lot of regular shit in his store, though, so maybe that's what you do. You draw him in with the big ticket items, and then you sell him something that's good margin but relatively cheap.
Which has had a big impact on us.
Yeah, the markup on jewelry is like ridiculous. It's like markup on video games. You think you got one? All right, let me see that Thirsty Thatcher in the Discord.
Our figures are down like 35%, and if those 3 weeks that we have before Christmas don't happen to that same.
Hey, Davey, welcome to the Losers Club, bud. Welcome to being single forever, honey. You make sure on your next date, if you are straight with a woman, make sure you mention that when things start getting serious, that I'm not going to buy you a ring. Make sure you let her know, okay? Or maybe you're gay and your significant other. Make sure you let your significant other know that they're not going to get a ring. Tell me how that works out for you, bud. Oh, and welcome back to the stream, by the way. Thank you for coming here.
And it does actually endanger the business and the future of the business.
And it was people like Mike Ferguson that the business secretary had in mind when he warned against what he called a 90.
Make sure you tell your partner that they're going to get a shitty, cheapo ring. Make sure you let them know. Make sure you just let them know what they're getting into. But you know what? If things get serious with Davey, I'm pretty sure your partner is going to know what they're dealing with. Not to expect much. Man, that's so shitty. You're going to give him a cheap ass ring. Wouldn't I got the most expensive ring I could for my wife. I saved up for years, and I got her the most expensive ring I could afford because I love her and I wanted her to have the nicest thing possible. I understand that, the jewelry industry and everything, but it wasn't about the jewelry industry. It was about, giving her, I wish I could buy her the crown jewels. I wish I could buy her the most expensive jewelry ever made, right? Because she deserves it. Rings are the dumbest investment for a new couple. I do agree that, like, if you're in your early 20s and you're getting married, you probably shouldn't take out a loan to buy jewelry for your ceremony. I do agree with that logic. Yeah. Any woman stays with Davey past the third date will be fully aware of what she's getting into. I agree. I don't think Davey's going to hide that, but just bring it up when things get serious. Oh, by the way, I'm going to buy you a cheap ass ring, just so you know. Make sure you record it for everybody too.
1970s cycle of strikes.
Well, I just think that actually, if you work on the railways, it would be nice if the offer that's on the table, which now includes a lot of money in back pay, was actually put to you. But the union bosses are preventing that from happening at the moment. That's inconveniencing a lot of people. And look, a lot of people will say, fine, I'll just work from home. What about the hospital porter who needs to get to work, the cleaner who needs to get to work? These people are being prevented from working by the union bosses who refuse to put the offer to their members. And that can't be right.
Yeah, that's a good point.
The government is now calling on those still on strike to accept the deal other rail unions.
I'm pretty sure Mick Lynch would have an argument about this, though, that it's not going to their members, because I recall members voting on things quite a bit. So I'm not quite sure what he's talking about. I'd be curious to hear what Mick Lynch has to say in response to this.
To a 9% pay rise over 2 years with no compulsory redundancies.
Some rail workers, members of the TSSA, have reached a settlement. Are you any closer?
That's because that was a separate group of grades that have agreed their deal. Our members voted on that same deal, and our members voted to reject the offer that had been made. We'll carry on talking, and we really do want to get a deal, but that's going to be down to the companies and the government to agree that deal with the RMT.
Around 1 in...
So that's interesting. So it was an executive decision made by the leaders of the union to not present this offer to their members. Interesting. I think I'm okay with that. I mean, these guys are in the negotiations. They're put into their positions of power because of their ability to negotiate. And if they're saying, let's not take this deal, we can get a better one. They probably know what they're talking about. It's not exactly Mick Lynch's first rodeo. It does suck, though. I do see both arguments where it's like, well, they should be able to vote on it every single time. But I could also see the opposition taking advantage of that. Right, offering shitty wages, but maybe a little something better, that gets people just across the finish line. Very incremental, right? But it gets just enough people to vote against, taking it, and vote for basically taking a pay cut. You would start to see tactics like that. So I think it's important for the union leadership to have some autonomy in terms of what they're going to bring to their members.
5 trains have been running today, according to Network Rail. Jane Akera was hoping to get one of them to London so she can visit a client.
What happens if you don't get to London today?
If I don't get to London today, it's going to be very hard. My client need me and want to see me because they're in the hospital and I want to go to see them. I think the government should sort this out and think what to do instead of being strike all the time.
A lack of trains has proved particularly costly for John and Kath from Solihull. They had tickets for a carol concert last night in Birmingham city centre and were determined to go.
We decided the best bet was actually to book a hotel room. So we came on the bus, stayed in a hotel after the show, and now we're going back on the bus.
A bit more expensive than planned, perhaps?
Only about 120 quid more, yeah.
Disruption to train services is expected to continue up to and beyond Christmas, with the head of Network Rail accusing the RMT of deliberately ruining Christmas for passengers and businesses. There seems little chance of an end to the discord between the two sides anytime soon.
Oh, that's right. They just have random pianos at some of their train stations. That's so cool. Here we go. Here's your boy Mick fucking Lynch, man. The O-est of OGs, dude. Where's my applause? Where's my applause for Mick? This guy's amazing. This guy's amazing. And wait till you see this. Wait till you see this. They try so goddamn hard. They try so hard to fuck this guy over, to put words in his mouth, to twist what he's saying, to not allow him to properly respond. They do all the tactics. And you know what? Mick just flies right through it. Just flies right through it. So Artie, in the UK, we just break into Mary Poppins. Yeah, and he's been sporting this hat. You know what? In honor of my boy Mick, I'm going to put on my own hat. Here you go. Love this guy, dude. I love this guy.
Just focus on Christmas now. And I'm not being sentimental about this.
I'm not being sentimental, but I am going to blame you 100% and wholly for all the problems that's happening. You're answer this question. Are you the Grinch? Are you the Grinch? Do you want to destroy Christmas for hundreds of thousands of young girls and boys? You do. Why do you want to do it? I'm not going to let you answer. You clearly do. You are the Grinch. They're so blatant.
Just focus on Christmas now. And I'm not being sentimental about this. You will know, because you keep an eye on the opinion polls, that many people who support your right to strike and who support your basic thrust and your cause are appalled that you're striking over Christmas, over this Christmas week. They feel that it's an act of...
Oh, it's the UK's version of Some People Say. Isn't that cute? Did you catch that? It's the UK version of Some People Say. The good old Fox News technique. Hey, good evening.
Appalled that you're striking over Christmas, over this Christmas week.
Oh, hold on. Hold on. You missed it. You missed it here. You see, this is a clever Some People Say.
Your basic thrust and your cause are appalled that you're striking over Christmas.
So right there. So that he was basically said, people that agree with you are appalled.
You will know, because you keep an eye on the opinion polls, that many people who support your right to strike...
Many people who support your right to strike...
And who support your basic thrust.
Yeah, they support they think you're doing great. They think everything's great. But you just shouldn't do it when it's most politically advantageous for you to do it. You should do it when you don't have any leverage. Because Christmas.
And your cause are appalled that you're striking over Christmas, over this Christmas week. They feel that it's an act of almost sadism and unkindness. Whatever happened to Christmas kindness? Why couldn't you put all of these strikes, every single one of them, into January? Why do you have to target people at Christmas? Because you're going to be putting people out of business who run hotels, who run restaurants, who run bars and retailers. This is the time of year where they make their money, and you are robbing them of their income for the coming year.
Is he going to get a chance to fucking respond, or is this just Good Morning America time? Should I leave? Can I go get a coffee?
Many of them are saying they're going to go bust.
Well, we're not targeting Christmas. It isn't Christmas yet, Richard. I don't know when your Christmas starts, but mine starts on Christmas Eve. So we are striking at this time because we've not got
10 seconds. He got 10 seconds into his response before he was interrupted.
Commercial Christmas starts in December. You know that perfectly well. You're being disingenuous.
It's not disingenuous, is it?
It is disingenuous. Of course it is.
Well, if you let me finish
commercial Christmas does not start on Christmas Eve. Christmas Eve is when people shut early. Don't be ridiculous.
Richard, you're just talking to yourself.
Commercial Christmas starts at the end of November and early December, and that's when people make their money, and you are depriving them of their income. That's the point.
Right. Have you finished then?
Well, will you answer the question, Mr. Lynch? And then I'll shut up.
Well, I have answered the question. So, well, okay, if you give me a minute, I will.
He's actually only been able to respond 10 seconds so far. That's the allotted time that this man has given him to respond to the accusation that he wants to destroy Christmas.
You said that Christmas started on Christmas Eve, and that's nonsense. I won't let you get away with nonsense. Well, Christmas does not start on Christmas Eve. Richard. So let's just be clear. It starts in early December, and that's what we're talking about.
Do you want to... Richard, why don't you just interview yourself if you want to talk to me
Cheap point,
like
Mr. Lynch. I'm holding you to account on behalf of the viewers, not on behalf of myself. I'm not interested in the sound of my own voice. I'd like to hear yours
You're just talking to yourself
at
the moment.
I'd like to hear yours answering the question.
Well, if you'd like to hear mine, why don't you stop talking for a second?
Because you won't answer the question, and until you do, I'll keep interrupting. It's my job. On you go. Job on.
Well, you can't interrupt me if you don't let me talk.
You just said...
Okay.
No,
sorry,
you just said that Christmas begins on Christmas Eve, and that has to be challenged. So, could you come back and answer the point about why you're taking the action over the weeks leading up to Christmas, destroying many people's Christmases?
Are you going to let me speak now?
Yes, please do.
Okay.
Are you going to let me speak?
Yes, please do.
I told you that Network Rail will start imposing these changes from tomorrow, from December the 15th. They told us that 3 weeks ago. They told us that the consultation process had finished, and they will move towards implementation So our strike action is in response to that. The strike action we're taking at Christmas is during the Christmas close down, where there will be no passenger services running after the evening of December the 24th. So that does not impact on Christmas because the railway is closed down from the 25th to the 26th into the 27th. And that's when we're taking the action that you're referring to. This week's action was given with...
Okay, so he's gotten a whole minute to respond now.
3 weeks' notice, well in advance, so that we could get negotiations going. And we haven't actually had strike action for 8 weeks.
There we go. There we go. So after 2 minutes of bluster and filibuster, he was finally able to get about a minute and 20 seconds into a response. Hey, does anyone want to see what Thirsty Thatcher looks like? Does anyone want to see what the Thirsty Thatcher looks like? Written, drawn, and colored, and put together exclusively by Dirty Crackhead. He didn't ask a computer to create this. Let's see if I can get this here. Copy the image. I just paste it in here. Yeah, there we go. There's your Thirsty Thatcher. Thank you, robot. And thank you, Dirty Crackhead, for asking the robot to do this. Wow. No, that's the spitting image of Thatcher right there. That's Thatcher. It's amazing how they completely missed the mark, but they got they got the hair right, so you still get it. My God, that's Thatcher's actual leg. That's what it actually looked like. There's that Thirsty Thatcher for everybody. All right, keep it in your pants. Jesus, you disgusting weirdos. You see Thatcher on a stripper pole and you just whip it out? Ah. All right, we got a couple more clips, and then we just have one China clip, and then it's on to Ukraine news. But you think I'm going to let you squeak by without a little bit of Johnny Pie? Not on my timeline. Hell no. It's your boy Johnny Pie talking about the strikes. Rounds of applause for X36813123 generator bot. Great artwork. I feel the urge to vomit. What, did you look in the mirror? Oh!
And when quizzed about the upcoming nurses' strikes, the Conservative Party chairman said that demands for a 19% pay rise for nurses would cost the NHS £10 billion, which should instead be spent on NHS frontline services. Back to you, Chris.
This is great. He goes off.
Gaslighting fuckers. If nurses aren't the NHS frontline, I mean, what about ambulance drivers and paramedics? Are they not frontline services? Give them a decent pay rise, you fuckers. They deserve it. Find the money.
He's the shit.
You all spring into action every time you crash the economy.
Right.
You can find the money then, get round the table, make a decent offer. Instead, they're sending in the army, telling us the unions are holding the country to ransom.
That's right.
The unions? Can we all just be clear about this? Our last Prime Minister blew a £30 billion hole in the economy overnight. Test and Traced cost us £37 billion. Useless PPE wasted £8.7 billion, which ended up in the pockets of Tory donors. A shambolically executed Brexit lost us £40 billion in tax revenue alone. Rishi Sunak lost £11 billion by overpaying interest on UK debt. And yet, you read the front pages, it's nurses who are the ones who are greedy and irresponsible.
Exactly.
It's the fire service that's holding the country to ransom because they all just decided they'd prefer to drink tea on a freezing picket line than save children from burning buildings. It wasn't so long ago we were clapping them, hailing them as heroes. They were all considered key workers during the pandemic, weren't they? Bus drivers, teachers, nurses. Now they're called lazy, work-shy fuckers.
Well, so the useless PPE is talking about he's talking about there was corruption. This was PPE that was bought from China, I believe, and was defective. That's not him, Davey, saying that PPE in general is useless. He was saying that specific purchases was corrupt because they were going after they were giving money to their friends, and then the PPE received was not of high quality. It was actually had to be thrown away. So it's not him saying masks don't work, okay? Go ahead and calm down.
Postal workers striking to save what's left of the Royal Mail, it having been sold off to the lowest bidder for a quick buck by the millionaires in Westminster. But it's your postman who is destroying the country. The entire Northern Rail network on the brink of collapse whilst rail companies and their shareholders make record profits, but it's that fat lazy fucker behind the ticket desk asking for a bit of job security who's destroying our rail infrastructure. 25 to 50% of average households are unable to pay their bills this winter, whilst energy companies announce record-breaking profits. In 2021, Shell paid £0 on their oil production in the UK and received £100 million of subsidies in taxpayers' money. Working people are suffering at the hands of corporate greed and unbridled economic mismanagement, and this is why people are striking for better pay, conditions, and job security.
That's right.
Recently, the government gave us the public order bill that even one Tory peer described as an affront to a civilized society. Crackdowns on peaceful protest is the purview of China and Iran, not British democracy, and yet these reactionary fuckwits tell us it's Scottish primary school teachers who are holding us hostage. The bastards who wrecked the economy, squandered our reputation on the international stage, sold off any and all of the country's assets for a quick buck, are getting their mates in the media to tell you that it's bus drivers, bin men, teachers, nurses, postmen, passport control workers and rail workers who are throwing the country to the dogs. Don't believe them. They are lying to you.
That's right. That's right.
Well, Stum.
And that's Jonathan Pie right there. And that's motherfucking Jonathan Pie right there. Make sure you like and subscribe. Jonathan Pie has been doing the satire for a long time. Extremely effective. Extremely effective. And no, that wasn't him criticizing PPE in general. I believe that was him specifically pointing out there was a specific scandal with PPE. That was deemed to be useless, right? They spent millions of dollars on this order of PPE. That I believe that was the article. I'll have to dig it up. Maybe Davey's already digging in there. I would appreciate it if I was wrong. If Jonathan Pie is against masking, I would like to know that. But I'm fairly confident that he's not. But please like and subscribe one more time. He's brilliant. I'm 1/10 of his ability to ad lib. I mean, it's a script that he writes, but he's goddamn good. Last clip pertaining to the UK today. Cherry Pie, you got to hold on to that wife, bud. This is amazing. This is absolutely amazing. James O'Brien dismantling a right-wing robot. The main thing that I want you to take away from this interaction here is how right-wingers and left-wingers do this as too. Bad actors on the left do this as well. But they ask rhetorical questions they don't want answers to. They'll constantly ask these gotcha-style rhetorical questions that they don't want responses to, because as long as the response is not pointed out, it looks as if it's intractable and that their only solution is the one that they're proposing. It's interesting, right? How they've internalized this, how they're asking these questions, they don't want responses, and they're not aware of that. That's what's interesting to me, is that they're just kind of oblivious to that. And James does such a good job of pointing out, he gives him an answer. He answers his rhetorical question, and the guy, just like I said, like a robot, doesn't. I'm not hearing. It's just literally white noise and static until I hear he's done talking, and then I'm going to re-engage with my predestined opinion, right? It's just. Oh yeah, well, they really shouldn't leave France if it's so safe, and I just don't understand why they would leave if they're safe where they're at. Why would they go that? And then James is giving him an answer. Yeah, well, I just don't understand why they're not listening, is what I'm trying to point out. is that they're not listening. They're looking for they're fighting a rhetorical battle with you, like some game. They're not absorbing information. They're not running new information against their conclusions. Nine Frog, huh? Oh wait, you've been here before. So I just wanted to point this out because he does such a good job of just showing just how pointless it is to have a conversation with some of these right-wingers, okay? This is why we need to defeat them politically. There's no talking to them. There's no convincing them to vote the other way, right? We need to outnumber them. And we do. Technically, we do. We're not getting to the polls. We're not getting to the streets. We're not donating and defending and putting forward progressive politicians and progressive operators that are able to bring it home, okay? Like the fascists are, like the right-wingers are, right? They got plenty of dupes. That doesn't matter what you say. James gave him an answer to his question. It does not matter.
David is in Thanet. David, what would you like to say?
Yeah, I can't figure out why there's certain things you can't figure out, like these people that on safe territory in France or in Germany or whatever, and they want to get over here. They're on safe ground. They would be taken in. They would be accommodated. Why do they throw themselves into the sea, risk their lives, and risk the lives of their children?
You'd have to download.
Risk the lives of their children by throwing them in as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So there you go. That's his question. I just don't understand why they would risk crossing that channel with their family. Why would they put them and their families in such danger to try and cross this channel to do this? I just don't understand, especially when they're safe and where they're at. Why would they do that? Right? That sounds like a question. Wow. Okay. Well, I actually have a response to that. I actually have a very good reason. Here it is.
I mean, you'd have to download. I'll give you a quick answer, but if you download yesterday's show, you'll get nearly 3 hours answering those questions, David. But the short answer is, if you ask them, they'll obviously tell you that the circumstances of their lives are such that the prospect of risking their lives in the channel is preferable to doing the things that you've just described.
But they're in France.
So there's the answer. But what about my pre-existing conclusion?
Is preferable to doing the things that you've just described.
Okay, there's no absorption of that. All he was waiting for was for him to stop talking and re-engage right here.
But they're in France. They're safe.
No, but I've answered your question.
What's the point? They're not having a gun held to their head, are they?
No, but you asked a question. I've given you the answer. For them, it's preferable to risk their lives in the English Channel than it is to stay in the countries that you call safe.
They want to stand the chance of murdering their children as well as themselves.
No, but you can unravel now with odd non sequiturs.
Exactly. So now he's defending his pre-existing conclusion against the evidence that James just gave him.
The question you asked is really, really straightforward. It's not my fault. It's not my fault that you don't want to hear it.
This is straightforward. 2,700 veterans in this country on the streets without homes, other people in social housing, kids dying in social.
So because there are people here that are suffering, those people need to suffer, because we could, there's no solution. There's simply no solution for everybody. So we just have to let them suffer because we have suffering people here.
Housing because it's so bad. Charity begins at home. We should be compassionate about our own people.
Why do you only ever talk about that? Why do you only ever talk about that in conversations about refugees? Because you've never rung me when we're talking about food banks.
Well, do I have to? I mean,
no, but I'm just interested in why you only care about these issues when we're talking about foreigners, and you never ring me when we're talking about poverty in this country. Or
yeah, it's a great accusation, right? How come you only give a shit about where the money's going when it has to do with the foreigner, right? How come you're not criticizing the politicians that you're voting for who are letting our veterans die and rot on the street? How come you're not, how come you don't give a shit about that? You only give a shit about it when it's helping some desperate brown person.
Or indeed about the plight of veterans, which we cover a lot on this program.
It isn't compulsive to tune into your
station. No, of course it isn't. But it's interesting that you mention these issues today that we're not talking about, and you never call in when we are talking about them. Why do you think that is?
Well, you were going on about Braverman and the fact that you couldn't see
why she was... Why do you think that is, that you never ring in to talk passionately and concernedly about the issues that you've raised when we're not talking about them?
Well, I've been taking my time over a long period of time to listen to these different issues and formulate ideas of my own.
So
and
why
to
would you ring
express
in
them
on a
with an
topic that's
informed
not
choice.
about military veterans or social housing? To talk about military veterans and social housing. I'm just wondering what your own answer to that question is. Here we are having a conversation about refugees. I'm going to ring in and talk
sure.
about. I'm going to ring in and talk about something completely different.
I'm gonna put it on myself.
David.
I'm gonna put it on myself to what about to what about this? Why is that such an important thing to him that he needs to take this time to what about refugees? Right? Oh, we can't help them. What about other people that are hurting?
I think that's the problem.
You called it an invasion.
No,
But
Suella
it's not a
Braverman did.
hostile- It's well, yeah, all right.
I think that's a
It's not-
disgusting
it's
word
not-
to
it's
use.
not. No. But the way it was portrayed was as though, it's bad for her to say it's an invasion. Well,
Yes, I think it's a disgusting word to use.
No, quiet. A large number of hornets.
Did you just tell me to be quiet?
A large number of hornets.
Did you
or
just tell me
bees-
to be quiet?
A large number of hornets or bees flying through your window at any time could be seen as an invasion.
Right, yeah, you carry
But they
on.
don't necessarily want to murder you. You've left a ruddy window open.
Okay.
If you've got a wound on the side of your leg and bacteria get in there, it's nothing personal. It's just bad luck.
So you're comparing refugees to
But
bacteria?
Yeah.
No, but you are. You've done that straight away because I know where
Pardon?
you're coming from.
Okay.
Yeah, you're deliberately doing that.
Okay, just
I don't-
run me
I-
through
So
that.
now he's the hero of refugees. Now he's defending them against the dehumanization that he was just flirting with.
David.
I just see them. I will. I see. it
Why
as
have you mentioned
crazy
bacteria in a conversation about refugees?
Because of the word invasion.
Well, but I'm objecting to that word. You're
Yeah.
defending it.
Yeah, a large
but
number of
So why have you
anything.
mentioned the word
If you listen
bacteria?
to me-
I have
no, if you
listened
listen
to you,
me,
David. I think that makes
you-
one of us.
Exactly.
A large number of anything can be qualified as an invasion.
Only if
full
it's a
stop.
threat.
If it's a threat.
No, it doesn't. Large numbers, pal. Large
You never
numbers.
talk about an invasion of Good Samaritans, do you?
Nailed it. When's the last time oh man, it's an invasion of carolers. I guess they could be perceived as invasion. Bad example.
Or an invasion
Well-
of angels.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
look, let me put it to you this way: the news usually is
David,
depressing
just stop
because
now.
most news is bad news, and
David,
you're
people
pretty
are
bad
listening.
news yourself.
There you go.
People are listening.
I'm sure they are. But why
Just
do they
stop
throw
now,
themselves?
David.
Why do they risk their lives and their children's lives when they're already on?
And now we're back to the original question that was actually answered. You see what I mean? They're not listening. It's a fun little game. They know they're right. They know they have everything figured out. They don't need your help. They don't need your convincing, right? Stop trying to convince your stupid uncle, your Facebook dad, whatever the fuck. Stop trying to convince these people and start convincing non-voters. Start convincing non-voters.
I've already
Land.
answered that question.
You don't particularly want to.
I've already answered that question,
It's
David.
crazy that they do it.
Yes, but we've answered the question why. It's preferable to
Misha, no.
the alternatives.
Well, I say again, charity begins at home. We shouldn't.
So he once again answers his question. And he's like, and then he immediately, well, you know what I say? What about other people that are suffering? As long as we're hurting refugees, whatever, as long as the conclusion is these people are suffering, whatever argument I could use to fill in the blank.
Well, I say again, charity begins at home. We
Except
shouldn't
it
be too
doesn't,
worried
though,
about
for you,
them.
does
They're
it?
already on
It
safe.
doesn't.
They're already on safe ground in France and Germany. So why do we worry about them?
Do you know, the more you repeat yourself, the worse it gets, not better.
It doesn't. Only because of your own whatever you've got in the back of your head.
Right.
Your own brainwashing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, most people.
And the coup de grace, the chef's kiss, the guy who refuses to take on new information and reevaluate his conclusions is calling the other guy who is basing his conclusions off reality brainwashed. And there it is, folks. There it is.
Will spend most of their life in the back of their heads.
Okay.
And quite honestly, we can't afford to run this country at the moment as things are for our own people. let alone paying the bills for the rest of the world.
Yeah.
And these other people, as I said, are on perfectly safe ground.
We can't
But
afford
you
it.
keep saying that, and it's utterly irrelevant to the conversation that we're having. But anyway, you crack on and have a great day.
Oh, well.
So there you go, folks. James O'Brien. Man, I got a lot of work to do to catch up to masters of the craft like James O'Brien. Absolutely amazing journalist over there at the LBC, hanging out with Snoop Dogg and everything. So there you go, YouTube. That's your UK update. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks so much. Make sure you click on the link in the description. Love to see you over here in the Twitch channel. Thank you so much.